This episode of the Beauty Industry Podcast was brought to you by Venus Concept Australia. Hello and welcome to the Beauty Industry Podcast, your online support community for the professional beauty industry. I am your host, founding director of Beauty Industry, Tamara Reid. Here, we are closing the competitive gap and speaking your language. This is a platform created and dedicated to the professional beauty industry, valuing community over competition. We serve to help connect you with inspiration from industry experts, expand your knowledge through educational pieces, and bring you the latest in product and technology innovation. This is Beauty Industry. Today, my guests are Nick Mirkovic and Alex Tomic from Hismile. Childhood friends and Hismile co-founders, Alex and Nick identified teeth whitening as their focus when in their late teens they noticed a common theme around bad teeth whitening experiences. Now, 7 years on, having been profiled by the likes of Forbes and Smart Company, Nick and Alex have placed a precedent on the importance of innovation and research and development. Nick and Alex continue to challenge the status quo of the oral care and whitening industries, culminating in the relocation to Hismile's new 2,500 squared space in Burleigh Heads, equipped with an in-house research centre. Today's conversation is filled with practical advice from startup to scale up, research and development, all the way through to brand and influencer strategy. Here's Nick, Alex and I for Beauty Industry. Nick and Alex, welcome to the Beauty Industry Podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for joining me. Busy boys, I know, so I really appreciate your time. How are you both going at the moment?
Good. I think it's an interesting time around the country and Australia in general for businesses. And yeah, it's just a challenging time all around. But Hismile, in the scheme of things, is continuing to trek on, continuing to grow, and continuing to meet those challenges head on. So yeah, exciting times.
Yeah, I can imagine. So we start our podcast the same way every single week by finding out how our guests actually entered into the professional aesthetic and beauty industry. And I'm looking at two young guys in front of me. So I'm wondering, where did your career start?
So it started back in 2014. At the very start of 2014, it was a time where we were both teenagers, and a lot of our friends were getting their teeth whitened, both professionally, both through supermarket brands, all different sort of methods. They were using those, getting great results, but everyone had the exact same problem. Everyone had pain and sensitivity. So being young and naive, we thought there had to be a better way, and we sort of jumped in head first. A long road of learning, a long road of speaking to the right minds, the smartest people in the industry and in the space, both dentists and chemists, to come to a place where we are today with incredible products, with an incredible team, and yeah, with a big future ahead of us to make the safest at-home smile care products.
Yeah, cool. Did you guys venture and dabble in the teeth whitening arena yourself, or you were just seeing the problem through friends and family?
We saw it through friends and family, and then obviously we became the guinea pigs for ourselves, and we've tried every product under the sun. And really, I guess through that process, we've obviously learned to understand sort of every different method that can be done, and it's been a long learning curve. Again, being young and naive, we knew there was a different way to do so. So for us, being hungry and wanting to change the world, we really put it on our back, and it's something that we're proud that we've been able to uncover something that is different, that works in a different way, and achieve what we set out to do from the start.
Yes, I feel that pain. Actually, I remember, using teeth whitening devices, and I would always want the whitest, shiniest teeth. So I would do like 2 rounds of the light. And then on the second one, I was sitting there in so much pain, being like, Tamara, why are you doing this to yourself, you silly girl?
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, no matter who we speak to, and especially in the early days, how painful that is, and it really just comes and it shocks you out of nowhere. It's quite bad, and I think for that reason there was such a opportunity to create something that didn't cause that achieved the whitening that these brands were doing, and there was a different way in which that could be done.
Yeah, very cool. So, without any industry experience prior to Hismile, what surprised you the most about, the beauty and the self-care kind of space?
I think the depth and the community behind it. I think once you sort of dive in head first, there's a lot of depth, there's a lot of understanding, there's a lot of reading to do, a lot of people to speak to, and there's a lot of people with opinions, I think, out there, both right, wrong, in between, ulterior, kind of different views on what's right and what's wrong from an effectiveness perspective. And yeah, I just think there is this huge community out there. And then delving deeper into what we jumped into, teeth whitening or oral care specifically, I think it's something that we brush our teeth every single day. No matter who you are, if you're into beauty or you're not, yet I think when you compare it to a market like skincare, we don't take the same process or do the same due diligence to check out the back of our toothpaste label or what's in our teeth whitening products or what the dentist is doing to our teeth or asking the right questions. So it kind of really triggered this 1-2 punch where it's like, okay, people are having this concern with a product like teeth whitening, and then look at that opportunity as well in oral care where it's something that everyone has teeth, everyone cares somewhat for their teeth, but we're just not doing it consciously. So we see a huge runway for us to be able to hopefully educate, connect the dots, and bring out products that people are going to love and enjoy.
Yes, I love that. And you use the word consciously there because I guess we are trained from such a young age as soon as we grow teeth. And I'm just thinking about my 5-month-old is just getting his first tooth through now. Oh my goodness, what a nightmare that is. Whole nother podcast episode. But, as soon as he gets teeth, then I'm teaching him straight away to brush his teeth. But he's only going to be using the products that I use. So then he grows up and he just naturally and unconsciously buys the same products that I've bought for him because that's what he's been trained to do. And only once, if you have that pain or if you have that experience, did you go, hang on, there must be something else out there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that consciousness in oral care and smile care, I think that is something that will be inevitable. People will start to become more in tune with what's every possible product and ingredient and what are the different things that each of them do. And when you become more conscious, that's where I guess a lot more innovation will come and a lot more people will start creating these remarkable products. So I think it's very, very early on in the journey. Yes, it is something that's been around for who knows how long, but we believe it's only just starting. And this new wave especially is definitely sort of going in a different direction.
Yeah, for sure. It's exciting times for you both. I have 2 questions for you. First of all, how do you navigate startup business when you're teenagers? And then how do you do that with a partnership and a friendship? Because navigating startup on its own is like a whole kettle of fish. And then doing it with one of your friends is, oh my goodness, next level.
Well, it's definitely not easy. Navigating, I guess, in the business realm, there's endless opportunities, directions, the way in which you go. But I think ineptly, if you know exactly what you're trying to do and you know that, and you're in tune with that, and everyone who's part of the team is in tune of that, it always becomes much easier and everyone works towards that sort of common goal. And for us, it's quite clear. Obviously, we know what we're in, we know what we're doing, we know what kind of products we're doing in our specific sort of realm. And I think that, yeah, it really starts with that. In regards to the partnership, it works the same way. The two of us have the identical objectives. And at the end of the day, it's how do we constantly improve and drive ourselves to that objective? And that's why we've been in this for 6-7 years, which blows my mind when I say that. But it's just always been that same sort of relationship. How do we push each other? How do we drive more? How do we improve everything that we're doing on a daily basis? And I guess, yeah, that process, you have such value for that in for example, in Nick and likewise. And I think that's where such a great relationship just thrives.
Yeah, it really is a relationship. Hey, you're like business husbands.
No, you spend the most time together, and I guess business isn't easy. It's not always sunshine and rainbows. There's hard decisions to be made, but like Alex said, if you both have the same objectives at all times, understanding where you want the business to be today, tomorrow, and well on into the future, if we both have the exact same objectives and goals, and we continue to remind ourselves of that, because as I think where problems can occur is when, as the business starts to grow and you start to see some success, sometimes two founders or two partners may have different objectives and goals and they don't communicate correctly, and then it drives the business apart. But we've been so honest and transparent. And if there are any misalignments, we do talk those through and then realign and refocus. And because if we're not aligned, I don't think the business can be successful. I think you've got to both be driving in that same direction, stay on the same line, and continue to push forward.
Absolutely. Speaking of objectives, a lot of our audience have teams and quite large teams at that. How do you guys get your team to understand your objective? Because that's, staff is like the hardest thing to run. You can learn the computer and the books and the marketing and all that stuff, but the team and the culture is the most difficult. And for a lot of people, it's just a job and they want to rock up and do 9 to 5. But you guys are the founders. You've poured your heart, your soul, your energy, and your money into this. How do you then convey that same message?
I think it really comes ultimately down to transparency and openness and collaboration and working together with the team. We have such an approach where it's not what we say goes, or, hey, just get this done. We work side by side with every single person here. And I think it ultimately sits with that. And when you're working side by side, everyone is so in tune with what that common goal is. We don't separate teams, and we have such a great collaborative sort of environment where two random departments might sort of just have free conversations, and the way we've set up our new office really promotes that even more. And I think transparency, collaboration, just working side by side. No one's more important than the person to the left of them, no matter what their role is or what their title is. I think and removing that ego for personal objectives, but rather everything that we do together, we do with a common goal in place to take Hismile forward and to improve on what we're doing today and make it better tomorrow.
And I think we've over time we've learned a lot and matured a lot. I think at the start, what we thought was right was to protect and guard the team and only share with them the wins. And I think when you do that, you're building a false sense of reality. And again, when you talk about that buy-in from the team, for the team to truly buy in and appreciate the wins and appreciate the process and to really be aligned, they have to understand the hardships. They have to understand the challenges. And when you are losing and when you're not doing well, or you are struggling in some aspects as a business and a brand. So I think when we started to, like Alex said, be transparent in all aspects and not guard the team from things that we thought would protect them, instead open them up and make them privy to all the whole business and could keep that conversation going, the buy-in and the passion and the motivation, the ideas has been next level. So I think that's a big learning that we've had.
Absolutely. And that's a good one. Vulnerability is very difficult to do. We always want to put on our big smiley face and everything's okay and everything's perfect. And I think it's difficult to show up to work and go, hey, look, this is not okay, but I'm going to tell you about it. And together we can go through and figure out what's working, what's not working, and how can we get out the other side. So that's a good advice. I really like that. After the break, Alex and Nick speak to leadership, values, and the future of Hismile. But first, a word from today's beauty partner. Community, I am beyond excited to introduce you again to the latest in laser hair removal, the EpiLeave, an innovative new tabletop device and the latest to launch from Venus Concept Australia. The Venus EpiLeave has been brought to market to fill the gap between skin and aesthetic clinics being able to provide laser hair removal services for their clients as a cost-effective and easy-to-use tabletop solution that will generate a positive return on investment to aesthetic practices. EpiLeave's design has been clearly well thought out. It's refreshingly compact, takes up only a small footprint on your benchtop or cupboard, and complements even the smallest spaces, perfect for compact tables or trolleys that wheel between treatment rooms. The device features a foot switch for safety, of course, and its ergonomic applicator is designed for left or right-handed use, so every therapist in your clinic feels comfortable when using it. Preset parameters and an auditory guidance system make it incredibly easy to operate and ensures the results are more predictable and consistent from client to client. Venus Concept have designed Epileave with affordability in mind and offer financing options suitable for all investment and repayment levels with their unique subscription acquisition plan, which is a fully customizable interest-free monthly payment plan with no hidden cost. You can get in touch with the team by visiting www.venusconcept.com/au or by clicking through to the show notes to learn more. Thank you so much to the team at Venus Concept for making this episode of the Beauty Industry Podcast possible. And now, back to the episode. I want to chat to you because after the first 18 months, and I'm reading this because it's an insane amount of money and I want to get it right. Hismile reached 10 million Australian dollars, which is absolutely wild for teenagers, mind you. Did you go into this business with a lot of strategy behind you, or do you kind of lead with the soul to get to this level of growth?
Yeah, I think in terms of strategy, we had a North Star where we wanted to go make the absolute best products we could, speak to the leading minds and build ultimately a brand that could have a voice in this space. But I think in terms of step by step, we didn't have a step-by-step plan. We knew starting with a low amount of capital, not having a big marketing budget at the start, the first thing for us was to get our product into the hands of anyone and everyone in Australia who had some form of small influence. I think when we started, it wasn't known as influencer marketing, or it wasn't known as, sending out product and getting a post in return or paying influencers. For us, it was just, let's send product out to the people that we think are our target market. They've got a little bit of a following on Instagram as it was coming up. And they just so happened to share because it was a unique looking product. It was a product that worked and delivered the results unlike anything else they've tried. It didn't have the sensitivity attached to it as well. And for them, it resonated with their brand or their personal brand. And it was at a time where influencer marketing didn't exist. So it was a unique sort of space to play in. So we were quite fortunate that paid off, that the product was delivered incredible results. It made people want to talk about it, made people want to share it. And that gave us it sort of lit the match and gave us a bit of reach here in Australia, some great growth here, some incredible sales in the early days. And then that allowed us to expand and take that method, which we sort of almost, you'd say we winged it at the start, and extrapolate that over the rest of the world in the US, in the UK, and throughout the EU. So yeah, we sort of, what we thought was a good idea in terms of getting good feedback actually ended up being a great marketing strategy and a great way to get the brand and the product out there by actually getting people to try it and then give their feedback. So yeah, we sort of went with the fly, I guess, and just went a bit blind at the start with the gut, and then that seemed to pay off and we slowly got learnings and cleaned that process up.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Talking about, sending out PR packages and the likes, you started with micro influencers, but ended up with celebrities like Kylie Jenner and Conor McGregor, which are very, very cool. Do you have that same strategy? I mean, we have lots of product owners listening and they probably would die to get their products in the hands of celebrities as such. Is it as simple as just sending out a PR package and hoping for the best with that level of celebrity?
I think when you get to, so with the names that you mentioned, so that was a couple of years into the business. Once we saw success working with what you'd call now micro influencers and getting that organic word of mouth, for us, it was like, how can we amplify our message? How can we get these products, which in the background, we're continuing to work on the formula, making sure it was a better product every single time. We weren't just like, okay, here's one product, let's just stick to it. We were obsessed with making that product better and better and better. And that still stands today. Then it gets to a point where it's like, okay, who are the people that align best with our audience and our brand? Can we get our products in their hands, get honest, raw feedback, and then look to master up a partnership? So for us, those aren't organic relationships. They start organic by speaking to the right people, getting the product in the right people's hands. But then it's about an advertisement placement and ultimately partnering with someone that we believe aligns with the brand, loves the product as well, and can amplify our brand, our message to a wider community.
I love it. I love it so much. You guys, just hats off to you. It's such a cool brand. 2014, you both started. Instagram has hugely changed since then. Marketing's hugely changed since then. You've got a number of competitors that have come into the market as well. Self-care, wellness, everything's changed. How have you guys evolved with that change?
I think something that we've really locked into, and something that we've just been obsessing about is on the product front and creating remarkable product. We are in such a unique space in what we do, where it's a never ending cycle to constantly improve. Obviously we've come to a point with an amazing formulation. We've done some amazing things and really changed the game in the way we've approached it, but it's not something that we're stopping where we are now. So in regards to technologies that we're working on, physical technologies that further impact and improve what we're doing, product really sits at the center of everything that we're doing right now. And I think that's what's really continuously driving us forward and taking us further and really reaching more people. So we're now working much closer with professionals in the dental space, which is very exciting, opens up enormous doors, and we're working with side by side with them to create products not only in teeth whitening but all across oral care. And for us, what started in teeth whitening is really now broadening right up, and we're really looking to reimagine what every product in oral care looks like, because we think there's so much more that can be done. We've got an amazing team, an R&D team who spends every working hour just driving and pushing that forward, and that just ultimately that's what excites us. That's what gets us out of our bed, and finding the next, I guess, innovation and driving that forward, and working intently to get that over the line and bring it to the customers, and getting that feedback, and then just starting that process.
Yeah, amazing. I'm curious to know, with all this growth and, success, for lack of a better word, has there ever been some times along the journey where, imposter syndrome or, has come into your mindset, or, there's just days where you think, who am I to be earning 10 million Australian dollars? How have I created this company? Has that ever held you guys back at all?
I think we've been lucky that we keep our head screwed onto our shoulders. Myself and Alex have been really close mates, like brothers for years and years. We've got a really tight circle. And we've just got such a big vision that it's not about that side of the success that really gets us going. Like Alex said, what gets us passionate is what's happening in the lab right now, the new products that are coming in 12 to 18 months. That excites us more than almost anything. And I think there definitely is a stage early on in the business where you do get excited. You are very young and you're seeing what you believe is success. But I think always having that North Star, having a really good partner and having a good close circle keeps your head screwed on and keeps you consistently looking forward and trying to constantly stick to that vision, stick to that end goal, and continue to push towards the North Star.
Yeah, I think because it can be very easy to look at your neighbors, and to look at the competition and put your energy over there and think, what are they doing and how are they doing that? How do you kind of keep your mind focused on what you're doing? I mean, obviously you guys are so passionate and it's so exciting, but how do you not stray with that mind?
I know one thing that I guess we're somewhat lucky with is where we're based on the Gold Coast is very, very different to your big capitals, your Sydneys, your Melbournes. Like we have such a good community here, not just like Nick said, our small circle, but our team that we work with. It's the same mindset. It's the same way that we look at everything. And everyone here is just so amazing. Everyone's got their head screwed on, and we have, I guess, just this clear focus on what we want to do. And it's beyond the success of how much money we make or how much product we sell. It's how do we create something better? How do we create something remarkable that people absolutely love? And it's just keeping hold of that as our center focus. And me and Nick are really lucky that we're both in tune with that same way to look at things. I think that obviously is the biggest help. It would be very tough if one person has, I guess, a different way. But yeah, just keeping very clear focus on creating remarkable things. And it's weird, but they're the things that really, really excite myself and Nick and ultimately the team here. But yeah.
Yeah, I love it so much. 2014, you guys started the business. We're now in 2021. You guys have come through a global pandemic, mind you. So, absolutely incredible business practice there. I'm sure you've made some mistakes along the way. Can we dive into those a little bit? What have you learnt in the journey, and what does it feel like reflecting on the time that you've been in business?
You need another couple of episodes to go through all that. But just top of mind, you make so many mistakes along the way. Little things like when we were talking about going global from here in Australia, little things like duties and charges overseas, and then the customers getting stung with that when they're importing it into a place like the UK or EU, and then us have obviously ensuring that the service and all that's upheld. We're forking out of our pockets, and we haven't accounted for those things, and just making sure you account for everything along the way as you are building and as you are selling products is important. On the other side, on the operational side, that you do have everything lined up as you scale, making sure the compliance, the finances, everything is where it needs to be, and you are future proofing, and you're not just living in the moment and getting caught up in the hype today. There's a lot.
It's been such a crazy journey, honestly. There's mistakes that happen almost every day, little things and it's just how quickly do we learn? How quickly do we figure out what's the best way we can do this? And not just myself and Nick, but the wider team. How do we always just look, okay, what's a better way that we can be doing this? But yeah, business is a crazy thing with the way in which business works. There's so many variable ways that you can take it, and always navigating in the right direction and being honest with yourself, appreciating that, look, when there is a loss, use that to find what the best way to move forward is, not to just sort of get all upset and sort of halt the momentum. So we're really good at that. I feel is not letting anything come our way that affects and slows anything down, but rather we just use it and we gather around the wider team, and we sort of just get through it together. We don't put it on anyone's individual shoulders. We all sort of take responsibility together, and that responsibility and sharing in that gets us to always to a better place.
Amazing. Loads of inspiration, loads of passion, and loads of advice in you guys and all of your answers. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Wow, what a dynamic duo. Two key takeaways that I'll keep with me from today's conversation were, firstly, the fact that the guys are big on team transparency and collaboration, something I think is absolutely key to harness trust and team spirit, where they move through the ability to work free from ego and hierarchy. Huge lessons there. And secondly, the fact that they consistently return to their North Star, which is their ultimate business goal and vision, and in that they put the blinkers on to lead them in the right direction. So sound advice for all stages of business there. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share how you're listening over on the gram by tagging the guys at Nick Mirkovic, which is NIKMIRKOVIC, and at Alex Tomic 1, that's the number 1. And remember to spread the word with us too at Beauté Industry. Come and let me know what you thought about the episode, or just come and say hey in my DMs by searching for me at Tamara Reid Beauté. You'll find loads more Beauté goodness, including our club, digital magazine, and heaps more over on the beautéindustry.com website. Until next time, stay connected.